Alright, I am playing Lord of the Rings. I needed a break from Temple of Elemental Evil. I'm enjoying the game, but it is... I don't know. It's a lot. This game I can shut my brain off. So I'm currently doing the King's Gondor quest line, which is interesting. It's not the most engaging, at least not yet. So far, it's nothing but setup. I'm probably not going to read all the quests. Probably going to skim it and summarize at the most. But the general thrust of this part of the game, so far, I've not. Yeah, this is the highest I've ever been. Whoa. Oh, that wasn't even funny. This is after the war is technically over. Spoiler warning, the war is not over yet in Lord of the Rings Online. Because technically speaking, the final battle of the war is the Scourging of the Shire. And that's not in game yet. That has not happened yet. Not technically. There is an instance or two where you fight in the Shire, which I think is a little lore breaking. I don't think war came to the Shire until the Scouring. Where it also promptly ended. Which is very thematic. You know, the final battle is fought and decided in the least likely of places. But as the war is, for all intents and purposes, over, Sauron's defeated, Ring is destroyed, Mordor has been, beaten back. The game kind of takes its own lore at this point, which it had to. And up to this point, basically, Mordor is currently having a power vacuum where the remaining lieutenants and everyone of Sauron are kind of fighting for control. I thought that was going to come to a head in the Mordor expansion. It did not. As far as I know, unless it's in the raids or something, I think that's still ongoing. At least as of right now. In my campaign so far. I don't know if they resolve it later on or not. After that, we went to the north here in Gundabad, and look at that, I still have quests to do. I'm not going back there to do these. Level 138? Fuck that. Interesting set of quests. Very dwarvy, very Moria feeling, unfortunately. I'm not a fan of prolonged underground quest lines where you're hours on end just in a mountain. I don't know. I'd make a terrible dwarf, I guess. I don't know. I always thought I'd make a good one, but I don't think I would. But after Gundabad, we have come back to Gondor, basically to tour. Right now, there isn't technically really a threat. There's the shadow of one. And we're basically touring the lands after the war, checking on all the different towns. The king himself is doing a grand tour. He has a giant entourage that's going around. And we tend to kind of serve as like the advanced scout. At this point in the story, we're not necessarily the right-hand man, but we're a trusted ally, I guess. Hey, free shit. Runestone? Hell yeah. Do I still have any runestones? Oh, I've used them all. Training snow dummy? Really? And again, sorry, I am recovering from a cold still, which I don't get sick often, but when I do, it's a long recovery before I'm 100%. I don't respond well to medicines that typically stomp it out. Trying to mute any sounds that I know are coming. So as we are touring these areas in Gondor, oh yeah, we're looking for a kid. That's what's happening right now. We are basically trying to help people that are having trouble, trying to mend distrust. There is a lot of distrust around the fact that Aragorn is suddenly king, and he has an elven bride. That, you know, suddenly their queen is an elf. There's a lot of people in Gondor that don't like that. Now, I don't think this ever came from anything official, but I could totally see this being legit. So, yeah, I'm kind of digging it. Let me get rid of these old books here. At least don't show them. And there is a bit of a rebellious faction forming. And it's greatly inferred at this point that they are being funded. Oops, didn't mean to do that. They're being funded and supported by a faction that is taking control in Harad. Which, of course, is where later content takes place. I did do an instance that gives us a sneak peek at Harad. Looks pretty cool. Not sure that I'm up for many expansions taking place in the desert, but we'll see how it is. Who knows? Maybe it'll be cool. I'm overjoyed that we're doing shit in Gondor, but to be honest, not much is happening. This is all very groundwork laying. It's a lot of backstory, a lot of, you know, foreshadowing, which is cool. I kind of foresee this being a lot of wandering around Gondorian areas, which I like wandering in cities and stuff, you know, I like this. I don't know how entertaining it'll be, but hey, there it is. But it is interesting to see the game finally starting to just go, okay, we've got to make new content. We can't just rely on, you know, the books and the movies and all that to crib from. We actually have to make our own stuff now.
You found no sign of the boy?
That up a little loud, don't I? Elemental Evil's a little quiet. I think I can turn it up, though. I need to do that next time I play it. Can't return to Lon Syrian without him. Lon? Or Kyrian, I guess. That's supposed to be Lord. Did they misspell that? No sign of him, but there's no evidence they ran afoul of danger. A tall watchtower of some sort. Young boy might climb the tower to look at Corsair ships. That makes sense. Rod Fane to the west, such a place. Oh, that's where we're going. Currently over here. We're heading over here. This has very much been this entire part of the game is just walking around this new version of Gondor, because it is actually a separate zone. It's not so much a layer, it is a new zone just called King's Gondor. But how is there's going to be a Corsair right at the end of town? You motherfucker. I'm also playing on normal difficulty. I could probably turn it back up, but I'm afraid I'll start over-leveling the content again. And keep in mind, I'm skipping, like, all side content. Unless something is, like, obviously in my way. Like, I probably should have talked to that chick that was, you know, digging with a shovel on the beach. That was clearly something interesting. But it's one of those games where if you do all the side content, and this is not a bad thing, if you do all the side content, you're going to be playing forever. I do wish they had level scaling, because out-leveling content is still a problem. And while the Tortoise Stone exists, or whatever they call it, there's an item that you can equip that stops your leveling, basically you don't get experience. It just turns all experience gain into a waste. And I don't like that either. I want to get rewarded for doing stuff. I want to get my levels. I want to advance my character. But keep my power level down to where things are at least kind of appropriate. You know. And I think most people have kind of come around to that. Like, initially people were dead set against it. Now it seems like a lot of people are kind of going, yeah, I can see the appeal. Because, like, this game is what? I think the new level cap is 160? With tons of zones. I mean, there's no single way to level most of the time. Especially in the mid-levels, you know. There's so many routes to go. Like, you can't do all the quests in the game without massively over-leveling everything to triviality. There's just no way. Which is good. I like the idea that there's so much content you don't have to do all of it. That feels good. It's definitely one of the better parts of the game. However, I shouldn't feel punished for wanting to do more questing, you know? Which, yeah, when the main quest is constantly light blue, and everything's dying in 2 hits, even on harder difficulties, kind of sucks. It seems a little loud. Bring it down just a touch. It's a loud song. So I will say that the lag seems to have been better lately. I'm absolutely jinxing that. We are, what, 2:30 in the afternoon Eastern time, so you know, the crowd hasn't hit, which means we're cruising just under 500 people, although it does look like it's climbing. They did make a very exciting announcement apparently last month, which I missed. They're finally going to have proper UI scaling, supposedly. Now, it doesn't look like a problem right now. Like, I'm running it in 2K. And I can run it in 4K like this, and it would still look like this, like the UI. But that's because I'm cheating. I'm running it in a window and using lossless scaling to make it into full screen, like borderless full screen, and just upscale it. The screen actually looks like this. Like, this is the actual size of my screen on my computer right now. So, yeah. It's not ideal. It's not ideal. And if they finally manage to crack that, the hope is that the developers are kind of starting to learn how to actually make changes in the game. Because by far the worst part of this game is that the developers genuinely don't seem to understand how to do technical stuff. The game has been kind of falling apart for a couple decades. Like, over the course of 2 decades. It's kind of sad to see. Because it's still one of the best MMOs in terms of this style of gameplay. But there's technical issues, there's, you know, performance problems, which there should not be. There's no excuse for that. You know, you can blame single processing all you want. It should not run like this. There's other shit going on, sure. I mean, older games run better. Newer games from that same time period run better. This is one of the worst performing MMOs of its age I've ever seen. I want to say that Anarchy Online runs better than this thing. That's saying a lot. And nothing you can do really 100% solves it. Like, frame drops are just gonna happen. It's sad. Because, you know, back when this game launched, it ran pretty much flawlessly. Pretty much. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but yeah, it's a thing.
This is just the sort of place I expected. What do you make of these tracks?
There are tracks? Yeah. Gotta remind us that he's a ranger. Apparently there are tracks. Plane crashed here. Be a kid?
I believe we will find our quarry atop Barad 5.
Why do I have a feeling that Aragorn is just gonna shoot this kid as soon as we see him? Oh fuck, I thought we were hunting. I'm sorry. How do we get in here? Here we go. I will say the Amphilis area is gorgeous. I mean, considering the age of this game, this place is great. You hate the disappearing foliage, though. Okay, what is that flash for? Hold on, I'm watching the replay here. Yeah, there is a white flash happening on the stream that is not happening on my PC. Hold on. We're going to lose video for just a second. I'm going to reset my capture card. Make sure we do it. Yeah. We lost it there. And it's back. Okay. Hopefully that fixes that flash. I don't know what that is. This capture card I've been using the last few months has been really good, but it does have some quirks. Knickerbreaker. Aggro dude? Aggro? No? Cool. I do appreciate that Knickerbreakers are just named what Samwise called them in the book. Like, that's not their official name.
What do you want? I'm not ready.
So get the white flash. What the hell?
And you cannot make me.
It's only on... That's not good. It's doing that. That is really weird. It's only on the capture. Oh, I hope my capture card's not going up already. I've greatly enjoyed it, but I don't want to, you know, buy one every 6 months or so. Or however long it's been. Actually, it's not even been that. Closer to like 4, maybe. Let me try and deactivate it. Activate it. Hope I'm not blocking it up completely. I don't know. I'm getting a flash, and it's really weird. I need to pay attention and see if it's happening over the camera. What do you want? I'm not ready to return to Lond Kyrian. Oh, okay, so it is actually Lond Kyrian. I haven't seen any of the Corsair ships up close. Yeah, they would kill you, kid.
Wait, who is that man? Is he King Elisar?
Okay, this kid recognized him, but other, like, grown-ass adults haven't. Oh, because he was at the wedding. Okay. Came here to seek me. I can't believe it. Simply must show him to my home. Now he wants to go home. So we're getting a bunch of really strong gear, at least compared to what I had, just for running around. I saw it again. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, it is just on the capture. That's no good. What's doing that? You okay over here, little guy? Not like overheating or anything. Fans are going. I do not know what's doing that. That's scary. Is that just a Lord of the Rings thing? It shouldn't be. That's not really possible. Okay. Could be a Streamlabs thing? Not really trying to restart. The first couple of times I was like, was that like someone using lightning or something in the game? Because there is a thing that does that. But no, it's not happening on my screen. Only happening on the capture. Huh. That's not good. Can't say I like that. I'm trying to figure out if I can recreate it. Let's see. Kyrian is located to the west. It was named Kyriolande by the men of Numenor during the Second Age. It's the oldest Numenorian settlement in Gondor. The original name fell out of use and is now Lond Kyrian. That makes sense. Much easier to say. Because again, I cannot predict what's doing it, which tells me it's nothing to do with the game. Yeah. That's just what I needed today. Man, don't make me rebuy this stupid capture card already. Worst part is I almost bought 2 of them while they were on sale. I don't have anything weird set here, do I? See? Weird. One other thing I can check. See if the pass-through is freaking out. It usually is, unfortunately, on this card. The pass-through on this thing sucks. It tends to kind of just drop out of range for no reason. Which, while it's not great, it's also not what I use it for, so... enough, I'm not getting any trouble from that. Oh, there it goes. The second I said it. Now, you can't see that on the screen. Yeah. Okay, great. So the pass-through is flashing black, which it has since I got it. But only on gaming. I don't know. I would say that I need to reboot, but I keep the streaming PC off when I don't use it. Mainly so that this thing isn't always running. I didn't care about the Elgato, because that thing is, like, runs quiet and doesn't even have fans. Like, there is no heat issue there. But this thing does. So I figure the best way to do it is just keep the entire PC off if I'm not using it. And just boot it up if I'm doing a stream or something. Now, I will say, I hope it's a capture card issue rather than a graphics card going up on the streaming PC, because that would be a lot harder to remedy. And the streaming PC is just running a 2080, which is perfect for what I'm doing with it. But it's a 2080. It's not going to last forever. I say that, my 1060 is still, as far as I know, it's still kicking. I wish I get that PC out of storage and see if it's working still. It's outdated, but it still works. The second I mount up, I'm going to see another enemy. That was easy. Guess we're going down here? Yeah. That's a big fucking bridge. So this area is interesting because we did not come through here during the earlier game. Like, this is an actual new area.
Here we are.
Probably seen more impressive places. But my t-shirts say that Lon Carrion is older than all of them.
Master Orgelos is very excited, but you and the king should first present yourselves to the Lady Ma.
It would be proper. Roseanne.
We must strive to defend our newly gained peace.
So 3 more places we haven't found up here. Here, up here, somewhere? Oh, over here. Yeah. Got an area out here. And just out of curiosity, what kind of quests are these?
I am so very tired.
I think it's getting less.
The kingdom is tired too.
Could just be it has to warm up. Oh. Got a missing husband. Head out to tend to his traps. Hasn't returned. Could be nothing. Maybe he went to the Bruin Bounty. You know what? Any reason to hit a bar. Let's do it. I'm sorry, ma'am. Has he been missing for 24 hours? I can't do anything until then. That's a lie, by the way. Cops will never make you wait 24 hours or 48 hours or whatever the nonsense is. It's the main hall, not where we're trying to go. behind it? One thing that this game does need overhauled is the way that its maps work. Can't be behind it. Or north of it? Kind of up against the edge of the water here. There is no way to zoom in. So we just have this mess of icons over here. Definitely flashing, is it? Huh. Is it in the keep? No, near the docks. Hmm. I imagine that we go down for the docks, right? No reason to be up high. Library. Doubt he's there. Doesn't sound like a reader. We discovered the hovels. It's an interesting town. That's the west entrance. Now it have to be at the water. Look at dock to me. No, we gotta go down even further. Shit. This is a really cool town. A lot of these towns are... They're almost too interesting for their own good in this game. I found a barber. There we go. No Turnell deal. Hold on. Turnell dill? Turnell deer. Holy shit, these names. Is that quest? Is that a differently lit quest? Maybe not.
Days of peace have come at last to Gondor.
Yeah, I'm not doing a bunch of hunting and gathering. Sorry, man.
We must not take these days for granted.
Turnell deer, you say. Afford me a moment to gather my thoughts.
There's always work to be done.
Saw him here, but he left a bit back to check on his fish traps. Not seen him since. Find his traps along the shore outside the city to the city gate to the south, near a scorched building. Okie dokie. Over the south gate. Guessing we continue down. This is a pretty cool town. I like this place. Gondor is really good about this, where just every town is unique and actually has, like, you know, a bit of personality to it. Okay, it seems like it's when I click that the flash happens. Weird. But only sometimes. Can't figure this one out. Very strange. I'm just heading down into the south as much as I can. There we go. Gonna be a bitch getting all the way back up to the main hall, but I don't know. This quest caught my attention. It could be nothing. A lot of these quests in this game are nothing. It's just like, oh, there he is. And he goes home. Quest over. No sign of him, huh? There he is. Oh, he looks hurt.
Rumors of enemies pressing in from all sides.
Corsairs are on my tail. Well, there we go. And because I'm on normal, they're a pushover. Oh boy. I had to say so. It would take a lot of these guys to be a real problem. Damn, I'm healing for 41k now. I hate this glitch. I'm now holding an arrow for no apparent reason. Still holding it. Has not undrawn. Alright. Now we make our long trek back to the top of the city. I'm gonna call this a city. It probably isn't considered one. Like, I don't think Dale is considered a city. But the way they portray it in this game, obviously, it's huge. Because it's important. An odd thing about this game where it's like, the development has no problem making new shit, right? They can add to the game, no problem. But trying to fix things in the game seems to be completely beyond them. They just cannot figure it out. This way to go back up. For a second, I swore that Fisherman's Horizon from Final Fantasy VIII was about to play. Still holding an arrow. Oh well.
I'm so very tired.
There we go.
I'm tired too.
Simple little quest. A lot of them are that. Every now and then you'll find something that's really interesting, but most of your quests are going to be a simple task, like, hey, where's my husband? Not at the bar. Oh shit, he's getting jumped. Well, you saved him. Every now and then you get something more interesting. But I kind of like that, because it means that interesting stuff is hidden. You know, you never know what these quests are going to be. And most of them are pretty simple. A lot of the time, these quests are only really used for deeding, you know, and people want them over quick. So short, rapid fire quests are actually a little more satisfying. Holy shit. Try that again. Huh. It just had trouble loading that shit. This thing's on an SSD. What the hell? There's no excuse for that. Okay, they got the accordions out. What up, Mara?
You and your traveling party are welcome to Lonkirion, King Elisar.
Explore Amphalos as you wish, but know that the Corsairs of Umbar trouble along shore. Even despite the war's ending, my guards cannot ensure your safety. Oh god. I understand this woman was present when my husband fell. Lady, you're gonna have to be more specific. The Battle of Pelennor Fields was nasty, man. They killed so many people in that instance. Oh my god. Oh, that happened at the Black Gate. Never mind. Repaid with death the great Olog that gave him his mortal wound. So near to the end. It might have been so. What need was there for my husband to die if the men of the West were so near to their victory? Well, I mean, that's the whole point. They had to risk their lives up to the last, otherwise there would be no victory. Skill had not the attention of Sauron. He was but one man among hundreds, thousands actually, whose sword arm failed to slay the Olog that killed my husband before. Whose sword arm failed to slay the Olog before it killed my husband before it could reach him? Was it yours? Was it the king's? Wow. That is definitely grief speaking. Where you're playing all the what ifs. You may leave. I have words to speak to Elisar, but they're not for your hearing. Jesus. See the comforts of Lonkirion and know that Golitskill will not enjoy them again. Damn. Alright, well. Now we're playing sightseeing. I should have done this first. But we're going to retread our steps now, unfortunately. There's some interesting storytelling in this section of the game. It's not perfect. Not by a long shot. But, it's at least interesting. This game likes to take its time. It always did. And it feels like in the later game they still do. So, yeah, good shit. So, to the library. I remember that was over here. Gotta talk to Orgolas. Horichan. Oh, he's in the library. Okay. Really? Sir, this is a library. What the fuck? Well, suck. Also, note, I am still holding this stupid arrow. Where's Horichan? Another level for this one? Go first person for a bit. There. Am I really supposed to go up these stairs? Okay. No, I don't think I can. I expect to see a sign hanging on it like in Maniac Mansion that says stairs out of order. Click it? No. Looks like I'm supposed to be able to get up there, but... Wait, the library inside the keep. Oh. Oh. There's another library? People love their books. God. That's a recurring problem. Library. Smells of dust and candle wax.
Goloskil's heir is too young to rule.
He ceded some of his authority to his mother, Mara. There are some in Lon Kirion and elsewhere who believe she is not fit to govern in these trying times, and she is still in mourning. Yeah, she is. I mean, at this point, half the kingdom is. Another matter of some curiosity, it is known that before he departed for war, Goloskil prepared a parchment containing his last wishes, but it cannot be found. I spoke with Mara about this, and she brushes away my questioning. Aw, shit. There's something untoward going on. You should tell the king. For the safety of Amphilis is affected, and that imperils the kingdom. Yep, okay. It was too much to hope for that it was just a grieving widow. No, now it looks like there is actually something suspicious going on. Alright, now it looks like we leave. We gotta go to the docks, we gotta go to the bridge on the northwest. Imagine that's that large bridge I saw earlier. Let's continue down. The city is mainly linear, which is kind of appreciated. I really need to get into a fight so I can get rid of this arrow. I don't know any other way to get it off of your model. Down this way? It was. That's the bridge. No, this isn't the bridge. The bridge is up that way. Well, we'll hit the docks first. It was down this way, yeah. For the record, yes, I like war steeds. I think they're much more interesting to ride than standard mounts. Are they more effective? No. We're constantly having to slow down. But it helps with the immersion. There we go. One problem this game does have, oftentimes you cannot see where the stairs are leading down. They usually try and signpost it, usually literally, with like, you know, lights or something. A lot of the time you just have to like move the camera around to see it. Unwashed child hanging out by the docks here.
Ho there!
What? Oh wait, right, that's great. Oh yeah, as good a fighter as my father was. Nay, even better. Judging by the fact you're saying was, probably wasn't all that good. It says the war is over, but Airhunt showed me a ship far off in the bay that must have been full of corsairs sailing from Umbar. I hope they're not all dealt with before I finish my sword training. Idiot kid. Alright, so there's a bridge in the northwest. And that is where we speak to Erhant. Some of these towns are a nightmare to get around. This one's not too bad. This one at least kind of makes sense. Where it's just like, okay, are you going up or down? Just look for the stairs, you know, or the ramps or whatever, and you're fine. It's pretty cool. The water in this game does look good.
I saw you, King Elisar, when you arrived at Lon Curion in the company of young Master Orgulus.
Frequent visitor to the bridge. The news is poor of late. Corsair ships are often seen along the coast, and they endanger the fisher folk and peasantry of Amphilis. Do they not know the war is over? I mean, Sauron's war is over. I missed it. That's the library. I went right by it. God damn. No holding ceremony.
Lady Mara and I have come to an understanding.
As we did as much for her husband as we could, and mourned with her that it was not enough. As my promise that we will work to defend her people as Gullisgil desired. Yeah, that was kind of the plan all along.
Lady Mara's scouts patrol the lands hereabout in search of Corsair raiding parties.
Offer them the assistance of my traveling companions, many of whom are deadly with weapons of every sort. I mean, he does have basically SEAL Team 6 out here. Count, you and this number would greatly appreciate your aid in this. And greatly appreciate your aiding the scouts as they seek such foes. Scouts have gone in 3 directions: north, east, and south. Okie dokie. I would love to crank the difficulty, but I want a little faster. I really don't. I also need to catch up. Alright, so we can just head out that gate here, hit these 2, and then go straight north, probably? I don't know. let me hit this milestone. I think it's over this way. Yeah. I'm gonna have to put a warning about flashing so I can figure out what the fuck's going on with it. As far as I know, it's gonna be a one-time thing, but... This is the milestone. Fancy. Oh, if I really wanted to, I could go back to Bree, get my difficulty up, and then do this. I don't know. Because this character was never eligible for titles or anything anyway, so there's no point to it for this one. It is absolutely every time I click. Or not every time, but... it happens after I'm doing something else and then click. It's not registering on my monitor. It's so weird. I don't know which computer is doing that. It could actually be my gaming PC, because the way I'm set up is it's a 2-monitor setup, technically, with the second monitor being cloned. So it could just be doing it on one display and not the other. I have to say, I'm tempted these days to try and join a guild or something. It's been so long since I've actually joined a guild and hung out with a static group of people, but that's the problem. I don't play one game for long enough, you know? Yeah, let's just Dynasty Warriors our way through this. I'll keep it at standard difficulty for now. Like, the higher difficulty is required to actually make use of your kit, because otherwise you can just mow things down. But I also kind of like just mowing things down. Where is this? There. I blew right past him.
Have you come to help? Good.
Our scouts have spotted inland, we must remain on our guard. To speak makes it so. I thought that prowler for a second was actually fighting it. Yeah, I don't have to do any of my fancy shit. Oh man, I still have this arrow because I didn't shoot any. Typically this class wants to, like, you know, put bleeds on and then cash out the bleeds and, is this one right? Wait, which one is it? Oh god, I don't remember which. So I've got 6 points to spend. Hammer down, yeah, that's what I thought. It doesn't actually mark it on there, but each bleed that is removed. Let's see, yeah, it deals bonus damage for bleeds that are removed, and it increases the damage by 2% per bleed removed for 10 seconds. So, yeah, this is kind of your main goal on Red Spec Guardian. Further south. It's going straight downhill. Thankfully, this horse is kind of badass. Actually, the horse is really badass. His level cap. Unfortunately, the level cap hasn't increased since Rohan. So you know, got a fucking arrow in my hand. Hopefully, it on-draws it. One of the many quirks of this engine. There we go. 5,000 years. My hand is finally free. Where's the scout at? Oh god, he just teleported in.
We'll do our best to repair and rebuild what we can.
As I try to approach Lon Carrion from this beach, must remain always vigilant. Corsair sneak. Yeah, not very effectively. The last one is to the north. Hopefully I can just ride straight there. I don't know if there's a cliff in the way. I'm going to find out. I do wish that there was some option to be a mounted character, just like as a main, right? I still wish Cavalier was just a class. That would be so cool. Like, I'd love to run a dungeon on horseback. I'm sure there's reasons why that's not acceptable, but like the idea of being like, you know, a mounted tank, holy shit. Like an actual knight riding in the middle of a fight. I don't think any MMO properly has that. Well, most MMOs don't even have mounted combat at all. I'm just glad that we actually can swing a sword on a fucking horse in this. It has its benefits. I mean, I'm taking like no damage doing this because it splits the damage. But it's also just not viable and not allowed in a number of areas. More than anything, it just has a bad reputation. Like, no one likes mounted combat, apparently. I do, but...
We must not let our vigilance lapse.
A surprising number of Corsairs creeping about those rocks. I believe they will soon return. Hey, look at that. He immediately goes and fights a fucking bobcat instead. Hey, it's Concerning Hobbits. I know those guys. That's a great kinship name. Of course he's got that, ridiculous staff thing. Pretty good. I don't know if my helping will fuck it up. Is he on harder difficulty? I want to fuck him up. Shit, I was a little late on that. I just pissed off a Neeker Breaker. I'm terrible. Okay, we're fine. We're fine. Why'd I do that? And they went and thanked me. Yeah, I didn't do shit. I yelled super late. I didn't want to mess up the quest, but I know full well it would have been fine. For one, I was like, wait, are they on a harder difficulty? Because I don't want to just, like, roll in on normal difficulty, one-shot everything, and it's like, expected a fight there. It's like, oh, God. And I was like, oh, this fight's taking a little longer than it probably should. Let me go ahead and toss out a, my shout. No. that was not needed. The second I did it, everything died, and I just pissed off a bobcat. K-Bar.
Oh, I am glad you have returned.
King Elisar asked me to attend some business about an hour from now. Consumed with worry what it might be.
Will you accompany me, my friend? The king did not prohibit it, so far as I know.
And I imagine he would not allow you to be present at whatever this duty turns out to be. I'd just feel better if you were there. K-Bar's a fun character. He's on shore. He's not a warrior. He fights.
Thank you, my friend.
But he's very much not got the stomach for this shit.
Today we are gathered to hear the last wishes of Golazgil, Lord of Anfalos, who fell in service of the kingdom.
Oh, did they actually find the will? That's a relief. It's pretty I'd done something wrong.
Lord Golazgil's last wishes should have been presented before now.
They should have.
Why wait so many months to reveal his wishes?
They had to redact it.
I found them only today.
That's a lie. Let me guess.
Oh, is that so? They were lost.
Wow, this is... I was going to make a joke about certain files, but...
Lady Mara, if you will.
This is actually starting to sound like it. But no, there is no will. Thought you said you had it on your desk. Okay, we're gonna release it, but you know we're gonna make sure to protect some names here.
It's broken.
Oh man.
How are we to know the contents of this testament are as Lord Golazgil intended? Mara might have written anything within.
That's a pretty heavy accusation to make, though. I mean, as true as it probably is. Can we talk to anybody? No. Why am I looking at this? It's been broken.
My scribe has much skill and experience with the written word. He will tell us if Golazgil wrote this testament. Kaibar, will you examine the writing contained within, please?
Oh man. Looking for forgeries and shit.
Yes, of course, my king.
I do like that we weren't actually invited here.
It is true, the seal is broken, but the letter within is written in only one hand.
The whole letter is a fake.
That proves nothing. Mara might have written or rewritten it in its entirety.
Lady Mara, can you produce a sample of your husband's writing for us?
No, he didn't know how to write. Oh shit.
There must be something within this chamber.
So I have to look for it.
Friend, find a sample of Golazgil's writing. Show it to Kaibar.
Huh. Alright. Perhaps Golazgil's notes. Great. Remember to buy fish. It's unsigned. Maybe. Maybe his notes. Coins earned and spent could have been written by anyone. Possibly Golaskil's notes. Artifact contains notes on the migratory patterns of seabirds, but it is unsigned. Potentially his notes. Pages with the heading Notes on the Currents is signed by Golaskil. Contains musings on the subject. Notes are extensive. See where he signed them here at the bottom. Must have been very interested in the movement of the currents who've written so much. Let's compare the handwriting.
Handwriting matches perfectly.
Thank you, Kaibar. Read us now the last wishes of Lord Golaskil, if you would.
It will all be for Mara's sake.
My king.
This could be a frame job, though.
Golaskil of Anfalas, make this record in the live.
Korichan is being very
my home.
pushy.
Tomorrow I
about
depart
this.
for Minas Tirith at the command of the steward Denethor.
Music's a little loud.
Should I not return, this testament will direct the disposal of my land.
Have it
and
turned
property.
down. For the better part of an hour, he reads his last wishes.
And to the fishing village of Melgobas, I leave that same sum in gold. I direct also that they be given my notes on water temperature and the currents. The streams of Gondor all lead to the sea eventually. But it seems to me that even the Bay of Belfalas has rivers of its own. I have one more wish, and I hold it most dear.
Burn Mara at the stake.
To my son Orgolas, I leave the great ship Folfaroth, the Wave Hunter. May he command the Wave Hunter in service of Gondor when he is old enough. I hope to stand alongside him on the deck when he does. But if I cannot, may he follow in his father's footsteps all the same. To my dear wife Mara, I leave my love and all remaining lands and titles I possess. May she rule Anfalas well and wisely until our son and my heir Orgolas comes of age.
Seems pretty normal, honestly.
That is the
I
end.
don't see a reason that would be a conspiracy. The fact that
Thank you, Kaibar.
this will showed up late and the seal was broken is all that's amiss.
As King of Gondor, I command that these wishes of loyal Golaskil be carried out as best they may.
Korichan very well could have actually been holding on to it. Broke the seal himself just to raise suspicion. And then, seeing that, you know, the king was here, then all of a sudden made it discovered. Now, Mara's acting suspicious, but that, I mean, people do that shit. If the writing is strong enough, they could actually be like, look, you know, no, she's not acting 100% casual. You know, she's in mourning, she's fucked up. I'm glad to hear Golaskil's wishes. For now, we can see that they will be carried out. He was a good friend and a worthy soldier. Still a question I want answered. It's of a sensitive nature, and I will first allow the audience to disperse. We will speak with the Lady Mara about this last question when we can do so without too many ears nearby to hear. Corrigan very well could be part of the, whoever they are, the whatever of coins. The guys that are behind the unrest. He's kind of trying to stir shit up.
I am sorry, but it was very hard to hear these things.
The husband was a man of great bravery and courage and a generous heart, but to think of him writing these things alone without first taking my advice, I will shed no more tears. I wish this letter had not been read here today.
I have to ask you something, Mara.
Not wish to cause you offense or cause you any further upset, but I feel I must ask it. Why did you break the seal on your husband's last wishes? Parchment was not found only today, as you suggested. The paper was in your possession ever since Galasgiel departed, and you knew its contents before now.
I am grateful
Hey, look who it is.
for your discretion earlier, my king.
Corchin would seek any advantage he could from this. Galasgiel would never forgive me should a widow's weakness endanger Orgolas's claim. Broke the seal and read my husband's last wishes out of fear that he would do so. And he would do as he had indeed done. Granted to his son and mine that cursed ship, Wave Hunter. Oh, that's why she cried during that part. How often did he speak of his intention for Orgolas to follow in his own footsteps and become a great mariner like his father? I just put together that kid as his son. I'm an idiot. I was like making fun of him, like, oh yeah, well, the fact that you're referring to your father in past tense, I guess he sucked at fighting. Whoops. Too often, every time has cut me deeply. The Wave Hunter has was harbored upstream in Penethgelen during the war. Protected from the Corsairs, I've refused to summon it back here to keep Orgolas as far from its threatening decks as I can. When I saw such a bequest had been made, I did not know what to do. I cannot disobey the command of the King of Gondor. Hindering Galasgiel's wishes was bad enough, but I fear for my son's safety.
I entreat you to forbid Orgolas from leaving Lon Kirion, no matter what his father has gifted to him.
Already, it's nearly impossible to keep him from sneaking beyond the walls, but perhaps a command from the king would stay his steps. Yet another shield. All of a sudden, they're giving me a lot of shields. Fortunately, I'm not using them. At the moment. I mean, I do have a one-handed legendary and all that, but... I should probably equip that. Yep.
I understand this request, Mara, but I fear you may do more harm with it than you will prevent.
I will not be kept from leaving your home if that's the purpose of his heart, though. The command in the king's voice. Orgolas will know who wrote the words. That knowledge can only breed resentment. I say Galasgiel was a fine mariner, but I do not doubt he was. But what I have learned of your husband from my own, that he cared deeply for the people of Amphilis, and did not sail from them or from you without great need. Let your son come with our traveling party. What the fuck? As we journey to Penethgelen, it is my belief that Orgolas will see this land with new eyes, and he will grow into the responsibility he must one day have.
I do not know.
That is kind of a wild suggestion. No, let's just bring your kid with us. We'll bring him back someday. But this journey gives life to embers that might otherwise have been cooled. I don't see how such an adventure could prevent that for which I fear for my son. But if you permit Darum to also join your traveling party, that he may attend my son and keep him safe, I suppose I cannot refuse. Well, she was already, like, kind of passively saying we are at fault for her husband dying. Now it's like, oh yeah, let's take your kid. We're going on a goddamn adventure with your child. How about that? Oh, boy.
I am surprised Lady Mara has agreed to allow Orgolas to depart with the king and queen.
Penethgelen is not far from here. I will do what I can to keep the boy safe among the green hills. Perhaps he will be less likely to slip my watch if he feels that he is on an adventure. Oh, good.
Is it true? I am to
Little
depart
shit.
the King's party for Pinath Gelling? That is wonderful news!
That's where the Wave Hunter is currently docked. We're gonna see the ship that my father left to me? Oh man, this is a bad idea. I got reward up.
Do you think there will be fighting?
Yeah. They say the war is over, but from the tower I can see the ships off in the distance. The guards report that they sometimes send raiding parties. Yeah. Study maps, you know. The road leaves Lon Kirian to the west. It passes through Thingas to before turning north. And folks say that Thingas might be haunted. I'll have my sword at the ready. Oh god. This is a terrible idea.
Folks say Thingast might be haunted.
Young Orgalos says the road we must take through Thingast may be haunted.
I've heard this before, though. It's true that folk once dwelled there, and now only their ruins remain. They were once called Oridhoth by the Dunedain, but they had another name for themselves that I cannot recall. Let's remain alert for dangers that might threaten the safety of our company. Spirits, beasts, or raiding corsairs. Two of these seem more likely to me. Could be, like, ghosts of beasts and corsairs. I don't know. Not discount the possibility the folk of Amphilis know more about these lands than we do. I think it might truly be haunted by shades. I tell you, I've had my fill of spirits. My companion Hirluin was Lord of Pinath Gelling. He and I adventured with Forlong in days long ago. Forlong said he could never have his fill of spirit. And Hirluin would laugh and laugh. No room could be empty of cheer when those two were in it. But they're gone now, and cheer seems hard to come by. At least the memory of their jesting remains with me, and I shall cherish it. I was gonna make a joke about the spirits. Alright, so off the Thingus. Thinghast. No, it's Thingus. It is Thingus. Basically, when you think something might sound stupid, just pronounce it a different way, and it's usually alright. And if it starts with a C, it's always pronounced like a K. Running right into the fucking railing. At least that was there. Shit. That could have been bad. Probably should hit a crafting station to try and cash in on this iron I'm getting. God knows I should have tons of the Gundabad ore. Feels like I've been getting that shit forever. Well, there's some spirits. I've not heard about ghosts. What the fuck? That kid's lying. Even out here in the middle of day. That's not good. I think this is more of a region than an actual town. This actually shut off. Oh, I don't think this is in the game. I don't think we can go there yet. Andrast, huh? Yep, that's off the map. What the fuck is that? Deadlight. Not on my fucking watch. Somehow knocked it over. They did say beast as well. Cleared the one poison, huh? Oh, it ain't clearing. 143 poison. This should do it. Sometimes they just don't want to remove. It's gonna wear off soon. It's imperative that I get that 2,000 morale back. Gondor. It's kind of a shame the amount of times that they try to portray like, oh yeah, you're traveling with people, and they're like, you know, oh, go scout ahead. You know, you never get that sense that you're actually with a group of people. Like, the game doesn't have a proper companion system, and it's weirdly evident that they kind of wish they did. That's where we're at. But I'm probably way above it. Kinda. It's a higher level than me. Not for long, though. Damn, this is kind of pretty up here. Very green. What the hell's attacking me? Stupid fucking birds. What is this, Ninja Gaiden? Whoa, little laggy. Well, now that I think about it, I don't know, actually, I'm not sure if it makes sense that the birds are still against me. Because it was always suggested that certain wildlife was aggressive just because of Saruman's influence. Because he had, like, you know, powers over nature and stuff. Which is why the Crebain were kind of his scouts. Honestly, a lot of birds are just immediately hostile for that reason. But I'm not sure if he should still have those powers. I'm not sure if Saruman still has magic or not. Because at this point, his staff should be well unbroken. Holy shit, there's goblins up here. Hell yeah. Come here, you little shit. Haradrim warrior? What the hell? You're a little far from home, buddy. Huh. What the hell are they doing all the way up here? Well, where are we at? Ah, there is a lot of water out here. Well. How you doing, Tiger? Oh, we're not supposed to be here. Shit. I was like, where's the traveling party? Is there a... Yeah, there's a stable somewhere out here. Oh, no. That's over here. Shit. Get me out this country, motherfucker. I love that video so much. Like, I'm positive that... Hold on. I feel like I need to explain myself on that one. Let's see here. What I'm gonna look for. Let's see. Yep, no, but it popped right up.
What really happened on the...
Hang on. Yeah, so actual live footage of my character right now.
that Thursday here at Augusta High School that led to Chris Wood's death?
The fuck is that? Shit. I'm dying in this fucking country ass fucked up town. Shit flying in my mouth. Oh, fuck, I can't see pollen. Let's get the fuck out of this country, motherfucker. Okay.
I love that video so much. I think that sums up this place pretty well. Man, I really need to get this inventory under control again. I blame the crafting. Even though the only thing I'm gathering is ore, it's all it ever takes. Let me try and get rid of this stupid arrow. I hate that visual bug so much. Whoops. Shit crawling in my mouth. I love how quick he goes from his television voice to the real one. Can't go 2 steps without ore. Good problem to have. EFL, huh? Okay.
We must not take these days for granted.
Do you have a moment for me?
Ah, here we go. I know we've come here for matters most serious, but I beg a small boon of you and the king. This is EFL in Tumrost. And word of its high-quality grapes has reached the ears of wine lovers across all of Gondor, even in distant Minas Tirith. You think we might see if one of the ventures here might gift us a bottle or two of their finest? Don't know what it is that makes their wine so renowned, but this is like to be my only chance to sample it. Man, she's got her priorities right, man. I'm gonna get drunk.
Welcome to EFL, the most fruitful field among all the green hills of Pinna Geli.
Understand your company came to Tumrost by the road from Anhulas. Saw then how dry that land can be, despite how near to the sea it lies. I will, of course, give to the king and his party some bottles of our finest wine. For you must all be so parched. Land is quite different from the Langtron to the south. Where that is a place of dry, salt-scarred cliffs, ours is a green, rainy country. The mist off the sea comes to the mountains in low clouds, leaving fog in the hollows. It gives to our grapes a rich, full taste, and the wine we make from them is without compare. World building. We will give you some bottles. Now, first, I ask that some among your company help us with our work. Not the king or queen, of course. But we have grapes to pick. Surely you will not refuse when such quality wine is the reward. How did I know this would... Okay. Where are we going? Out this way. Me work in the fucking fields? I have to play the clip again? What the hell? This is how fast you gather grapes.
You have done very well with the work.
Should you wish to aid us in the future, I would not refuse the assistance. Yeah, I'm just going to give up my adventuring ways and be a grape picker. Yeah. Suppose the king has other tasks for you. Set aside some bottles for your company. Bring them to the king's provisioner. Be sure to tell her that if she wishes to purchase more from the sellers of Minas Tirith, the vintners of EFL will give her a fair price. Wow, it's actually picking the ones up that I'm selecting. That's a weird detail.
Thank you for these. No, we cannot open them now.
Get drunk? Let's save them for the right time. I'm certain they will live up to the reputation. If we were to drink them now in the field, we would truly be wasting the opportunity to enjoy them. Perhaps when the king's business in Penethgalen is done.
Our next destination is Ost-Andir, stronghold of the Lord of the Green Hills.
My friend and companion, Hirluin the Fair. I understand after his death at Pelennor, his daughter now rules that seat. Oh, here we go again. Yeah, we're just giving bad news everywhere. I mean, they all know, but...
I am the Order of Knights that protects Penethgalen.
She's high, huh? Is the tradition in this land that women may also wield the sword and scepter. He's married to Carindolian, who was the brother of Duanhir of the Blackroot Vale. I recall the two of them are quite different in temper. Son of Nariel and Carindolian is named Thorngil. He must now be about 10 years old. Right, Hirluin often spoke of our campaign in Umbar, and while it has been many years since I wore the name Thorngil, that's a name I actually don't know of his. His grandson was given that name in remembrance of me. I prefer you not speak of it to Nariel or her son. There must be few in Outer Gondor these days who know the warrior Thorngil and the King Elisar for the same man, and I would like to keep it that way. Northeast of EFL. Gotcha. Travel there now before Grethrold burdens our pack horses with more bottles of wine than we need. To speak honestly, this may have happened already. Wine secured. Moving on. I'm enjoying the amount of travel in this quest chain, man. Not anything crazy. We aren't, like sieging castles or taking out camps or anything like that. There's the occasional fighting, but a good bit of it is literally just traveling from place to place, learning a little about it, and moving on. There's optional shit to do in each place, but it's good stuff. New content? Wait, what? New content or the usual? Oh yeah, no, it's not anything new. Not new. Well, it's new to me. Just need to take a break from Elemental Evil for a bit. I'm enjoying it, but as always, I've got like 100 things I need to be playing, and I'm just like, I'm gonna play this MMO for a while. Go the wrong way here. Now, there is new content in this game, but I am far from it. Let's say just last month, they upped the level cap to 160. And I am 143, so I'm not even really there yet. The problem is, there's a number of expansions that I still have to go through. Like, for the story, at least. And I may actually have to lock my experience on it. Otherwise, I'm just going to make everything completely trivial. I mean, this game's easy enough as it is. And I could always just turn up the difficulty, but... eh. One of my biggest complaints of this game is that there is no level scaling, of any real kind. Yeah, and see, the entire point of this game was that you can never be evil, unless you're playing the PvP. And the PvP is interesting because they are completely unique classes. And you can be everything from, like, different types of orcs. There's spiders, there's wargs. But with the game's population, it's not very well played. Back in the day, it kind of was. And the big trick to it was that it was purposefully uneven. Monsters were just weaker, as they should be. Lord of the Rings orcs are actually very weak compared to humans. It's kind of the whole point. Oh, there's like goblins all over this bitch. And as such, the way they balanced it was that you could only enter PvP as one of the free folk, or whatever the hell it's called. Free folk is from Game of Thrones. The free peoples of Middle-earth. That's what they call them. Or freeps, when you're in the PvP. And you had to be max level, which is really hard to do these days because there are so many levels. I mean, you can just skip all the content and just power level. You can do that. And there's many ways to do it. But other than that, if you wanted to take part, you would play as a monster. Well, a monster, you can just click a button and make a monster character when you're at max level. So there were, by design, they wanted more monster players than free people's players, so that the free people were outnumbered, but they were stronger. Has this been fixed yet? Didn't even throw it. I don't know. Sappers were vastly overpowered. Wow, this place is just crawling with goblins. I'm not even on a quest to fight them. I'm just trying to take a shortcut. And there's just goblins in the fucking way. Well, honestly, PvP ends up being a distraction for a lot of games. It messes with the PvE. Because they start trying to balance the PvP, and people are like, dude, I don't care about the PvP. Stop fucking with this character that I enjoy playing. You know. Nope. That is not fixed. Sappers are still outrageously powerful. Holy shit, how's that glitch still in? Well, this is kind of a shortcoming of Lord of the Rings. You are not meant at any point to ever empathize with the orcs. That's not something that ever really even occurred to Tolkien until people started writing him about it. It was not something he really intended. I mean, you read the books, you see the movies. People kill orcs with no hesitation because they are just plain evil. And that's a thing that people don't... They don't really follow that anymore. You know, that line of thinking that, you know, you have just evil races in fantasy. D&D has actually gotten rid of that concept. Where they're like, oh, no, the different races are not evil. There are different societies that can be evil. Kind of like how the Dark Elves originally were intended to be an evil race. They just are. You know, like, because of their origin and their nature, they're just plain evil. And it's why it was such a big deal that Drizzt Do'Urden was not. Because he's basically a freak for being a good person. Like, that's the entire point of that character, and that race, for that matter. But now, they have changed it quite a bit. Quite a bit. Where it's like, oh no, you know, there's all kinds of good drow now. How now, good drow? Like, they actually have, like, a patron goddess and all for reformed drow and all that stuff. It's wildly different than they originally intended. And a lot of that comes from the fact that Tolkien he had evil races. The entire point of the orcs and goblins, because again, orcs and goblins in Lord of the Rings are the same. It's just two names for the same thing. They are literally just corrupted elves from the first age. And while they breed and they can, make more, obviously, and, orcs breed and get more orcs, even half-orcs, which are half human, half orc, as far as I'm aware, there's no example in all of Tolkien of one of them being anything other than evil. And a lot of people kind of consider that to be the big weakness of Tolkien and his world building, is just how black and white that was. Now, some people really like it, right? And I'll admit, it's fun to have an enemy in the game that you don't have to worry about, like, how ethical is it to slaughter all these orcs? Like, should they be given the chance to live peacefully? And people wrote letters to Tolkien about it, too. Because they were like, are all orcs evil? Like, is there not a single good orc? And Tolkien had to phrase it in a way that was like, I'm sure out there somewhere is a good orc. But in all his writing, no, there wasn't. Not a single orc that appears in Lord of the Rings is good. Or even borderline, really. They're all violent, cowardly, vicious. If they have the chance to do evil, they will. And it's just because that's what orcs are. And it's unclear if that's the product of either his specific world building. This is actually a really good view here. Or if that is a product of the time that he was in, where people were just like, spouting off that kind of science of, hey, some people are just better than others. Because unfortunately, Tolkien has a lot of that stuff in it. And while it isn't in a vindictive way, or like, condemning, and from all accounts, Tolkien was not, a hate monger or anything by any means. A lot of his writing when it comes to different peoples, which is a big part of his writing, moral gray only really lands for certain people. The people that we see from the east and the south, they're all evil. But that's because they are all there fighting Sauron's war. And see that's the idea there, where it's not so much the race, it's their culture, right? And that's what D&D has started leaning into. Now, D&D very early on had playable half-orcs, which, they never went full orc, mainly because full orcs are weak. You wouldn't want to play as one. A half-orc, basically, it's very much intended to be like an Uruk-hai, the ones that Saruman was breeding. And they're bred with humans. They are bred specifically to get rid of, the weaknesses of the orcs, as well as the strength of humans. As a result, they're massive. They are, even by human standards, they're huge.
Days of peace have come at last to Gondor.
And that's what most people think of when they think of an orc, is an Uruk-hai hybrid. Which is why D&D went with half-orcs as a playable race instead of full orcs. Because if you look at a full orc in the monster manuals, they suck. They're terrible. They're there to be slaughtered, you know. But just cracking open the door with half-orcs caused all kinds of stuff in D&D. Where they're like, okay, is the orcish parent absolutely evil? You know, like, where most half-orcs are the product of unwanted advances, let's put it that way, to keep from dropping some spicy language, I guess. But, it's like, you know, is that the only possible way? Is there no possible way a human and an orc can fall in love? And it's like, back in the day, no. No one would do that. Why would, you know, people are like, why would you even think of that? That's weird as shit. Today, people will bang anything, so, you know, who the fuck knows? Look up fan art of goblins, and you'll find some shit. I'm just kind of wandering this town here. But it is one of the more uncomfortable things of, like, older fantasy is, you know, anytime you start trying to equate it to real life in terms of, like, people and race relations and all that. Because when we talk about race in fantasy, and in fact, I want to say that 5th edition has gotten rid of the term race as well. I think they go with species now, which is probably more accurate. Yeah, fiends can be something other than evil. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, who doesn't want to be Hebron? That's this guy's name? That's funny as shit. That's the name of the town that I lived in when I was a kid. Also, it's a place in Israel. That's not the one I lived in. But, that's funny. I've never seen that name anywhere else. And it's probably pronounced Hebron, but we pronounce it Hebron. For a different racial kind of reason. But, yeah, it's right up there with the fact that paladins can now be any alignment in D&D. That threw me for a loop when I played Baldur's Gate. I'm sitting there like, wait, this is like an evil paladin? What the hell is that?
Welcome to Ostrandir, home of the Lady Noriel, Knight of the Green Hills.
Now, I will admit, I always hated, you know, lawful good only paladins. I always wanted to have, like, you know, lawful neutral as one. That would make sense. They follow gods, you know, but they can be gods of, you know, justice instead of goodness. Like, why don't they get paladins? You know, what about neutral good gods? They should have paladins. Now, I do think that the title of paladin should change, which is what Pathfinder 2nd edition does. If you're a paladin that is not lawful good, you have a different title. Each alignment has a different title. Yeah, and that's how 5th edition is. Paladins follow oaths, which is... I'm of two minds of it. One, personally, that's a kind of character I make. It's one that has an oath and they live by it. And I like those better. But for me, that's more of just a straight-up knight than just a paladin. A paladin is inherently supposed to be holy powered, you know? They're more divine than that. I kind of like the idea of... I kind of wish that there was a separate class that was made for that. Of just a knight that takes an oath. The ones in Pillars of Eternity are a great example. Because you have to pick which order you come from, and that determines what you can and can't do, you know, and what's encouraged. And the way that you act will give you different bonuses based on what you're upholding and what you're not. The whole thing is very Ultima. You know, it's just It's not all virtues like Ultima did. It's, you pick what your oath is, and then you follow it, and you avoid things that you can't do. But yeah, it's gotten into a thing where a lot of it's just terminology, and a lot of it comes from like, where did you first hear of a paladin? And in my case, yeah, I heard about it in D&D, and then Final Fantasy IV. That was kind of the one that early on really cemented what a paladin was for me. Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay, they're holy powered. Okay, I got it. Even though Final Fantasy IV has no gods. Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is, like, there are historical paladins, too, which are just knights. That's all they are. And some media, especially early media, did not use the term paladin. They used the term knight, and it, like Final Fantasy I, they called them knights, and they could use holy magic. They were clearly paladins, the upgraded fighter, but they just didn't call it that back then. I'm still trying to figure out what is causing that flashing. It's only on the stream. I wonder if a reboot would help. Like, I'm not going to reboot the streaming PC, but if I were to reboot the gaming one, maybe that input would get cleared. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. It also could just be something interacting with this game. This game has weird shit, especially the way I'm running it. Anyway, welcome to Arndir. Home is Lady Nariel, Knight of the Green Hills, and Lord of Peneth Gelen. Great. But Lord of the Rings has a lot of interior plant growing. But I don't see these windows being enough to feed these plants. I just don't. Especially the trees. Oh, that's upstairs, isn't it? Oops. One on the table, why don't you? That door. This early? No, it must be over here. But yeah, going back to the whole race thing, like, evil races were, like, in the early days, most writers and even game developers were just like, who would want to play the bad guys? Right? Like, it was just like, it wasn't really like taboo. It was just something they were like, who would want to do that? You want to be the hero. They're the ones that win. And, now that leaves. It reminds me of Ultima Online, where, they had a full criminal system and you could just attack people and stuff like that. And it never crossed their mind that player killers would be a problem. Because to them, they were like, well, who would play a game like this, pay per month, just to be a murderer? Who would do it? Like, come on, you want to be a good guy, right? And they just assumed that. Now, I do think that there are some cases where, playing the bad guys is interesting. But it's so hard to fall into that. Because it's like, okay, well, what do you consider evil? Like, do you want, like, a whole evil society? Because that's almost impossible to make. like a functional society that's outright evil. That's really hard to do. Because, you know, most of these would fall apart instantly. Look at all these quests I didn't do. You know, it's like the whole drow thing, for example. That society would never work. Where it's like, oh yeah, you can murder anyone as long as you don't get caught. Like, we're not going to look too hard. Like, there's no way that shit would work. Now, one of the more interesting examples I've seen was City of Villains, which was the companion game to City of Heroes. And City of Heroes, easy. We got a city. There's superheroes. They save the day. They're sanctioned by the government and all. You know, like, you register as a superhero, and you know, you're on the up and up. Then you've got City of Villains, and they had to bend over backwards to try and make this batshit insane society that is ruled by a technocracy where, you know, the villain is like, you know, as long as you're strong enough to get away with your stuff, I allow it, you know. But, like, he also has his forces go out and, like, basically just stomp everybody. So 9 times out of 10, you're just fighting other evil anyway. You're just doing it for selfish reasons. Like, the whole thing of trying to make an evil character is hard to do. Because most evil is small and petty. And, you know, it's more of like a lack of being a good guy. Where it's like, you know, oh, there's a burning building. I'm not going in there. I'm not saving them. Why would I do that? I could get hurt. Some would call that neutral. Some would call that evil. You know. But if you're trying to make a game where you're actually evil, you know, not just like, oh, I'm part of this society and my people tend to do bad things, you know, that's hard to argue as truly evil as well. I mean, not to get too political, but the United States does some shit that is not exactly lawful good. Does abiding within its society make you evil? Yeah. Now, if you're someone who just does evil on the side, okay, sure. There should be ramifications, though. Like, it's one of the parts that makes the Star Wars, you know, Old Republic MMO so hard to take seriously, because when you start acting evil in that game, no one does anything about it. There's never any real consequences. You know, it's not like the game is actually going to punish you for talking back to your Sith master. And they let you. And you can absolutely clown on the guy. And it kind of wrecks the entire immersion. Because it's like, is this society even real? Like, what is this crap? And anytime that you have, like, an evil society, it just turns into everyone trying to outdo each other, and everyone stabbing each other in the back, and it's like, this would never work. This would never work. Like, I think it's much more interesting to have an evil person in a normal society, and they're just trying to make their way. You know? And they're not afraid to be evil. I think that's much more compelling. Almost like a neutral evil kind of approach to it. What is it? Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. I forget his name. The healer. Funny enough. He's an Aasimar cleric. You would think he's going to be a good guy. Nope. He is neutral evil. And the worst part is, he's actually kind of likable. He's very likable, in fact. He's one of the best characters of the game. But he is selfish. He is uncaring of other people's problems. He has no problem profiting while other people are suffering. You know. But he's also not a mustache-twirling villain. Which they do have that in the party as well. And it's fairly obvious if you know anything to look for. But yeah. Anyway. Yeah, I have complicated thoughts on, playing evil. Because a lot of it comes from tabletop, where I've just seen it done so badly. Like, people just don't know how to be a decent bad guy. Because, like, everyone just goes, oh, well, I'm going to be, like, a villain. Well, no, that's not your role in any of these stories. Like, you're still a protagonist. Just because you're not a good person as a protagonist doesn't mean you have to try and take over the world. Like, you should be trying to make your way just in an unscrupulous manner. And that's not what people think evil is. People think that evil is, waiting on the top of a tower with minions doing your bidding. Maybe someday, but, I think most evil characters wouldn't even think of that as their end goal. Most evil characters probably don't think they're evil. Like, that's one thing I really don't like about alignment systems, especially in D&D. And I'm kind of glad they've relaxed it or gotten rid of it in 5th edition. Where a good person probably isn't going to call themselves good. Like, a good person at most is going to be like, I try. I do what I can. The bad person is going to be like, I'm not bad, I'm just making sure that I survive. I'm doing what needs to be done. Like, only a complete lunatic would be like, oh yeah, no, I'm evil. Yep. Absolutely evil. And the fact that, like, the universe, like, draws lines to the point where you can cast a spell and ask the universe, hey, is this guy evil? And the universe will give an answer of, yeah, that guy's evil. Like, that's really weird. Stole some of this shit while thinking of it. They're kind of cool looking. But hang on to them for the looks. Ring, on the other hand, actually, there it is. All right, Nariel, what's up?
I am pleased to see you among the Green Hills, King Elisar and Queen Arwen.
You and all your company are welcome to stay for as long as it pleases you. Know that there are dangers still in Peneth Gelen. Our Haradrim fighters were transported here on Corsair ships during the war, and my knights have not yet found them all. Raiders from Umbar, too, have come up the rivers in small boats and harry our people. But I see warriors among your company, and if they exercise caution, they should fear little. I understand you have brought Golaskil's heir, Orgolas, with you on this visit. My son Thorngil will be delighted to entertain a boy his own years. Perhaps this one will show Orgolas to my son's chambers. Oh yeah, great. Okay. Of course I'm on Brat Patrol. So it's within the keep, huh? Down the hall or some shit. It was locked? No. Let's see, don't tell me where this quest is. We're hunting. Could it be? I'm checking every door I can find. I doubt it's this. I thought that his room would be on the second floor. He is kind of on it. I wouldn't call him Prince, I don't think. The way he's down here. Man. Yeah, I do think that's a lot of what makes something fantasy is that you can draw a line, like an observable line between good and evil. Because unfortunately, real life is not so generous. Like, people can do things for the right reasons and, you know, do something horrible. Not that you can't do that in fantasy as well. Like, one of my favorite tropes is the Dark Knight who is, you know, not the villain. There we go.
Hello. I'm going to train to be a knight when I'm old enough.
So you're a guardian. Are you a good one? I mean, pretty good. He dismisses your answer with a casual wave. I'm going to train to be a knight when I'm old enough. It won't be very long from now. Just a year or two. I have already been practicing my swordplay with sticks and with implements from the kitchens. You want to see? We can pretend a duel, and whoever wins gets to be the king of Outer Gondor. I wager King Elisar will be very impressed with us.
I've been practicing my swordplay. I'm already very skilled. Ask anyone.
Oh boy, I hate both these kids.
I'll be fine. You can go now.
Back home in Lon Kyrian, Erhunt often let me climb the tower and look out over the sea, and I've seen a great many Corsair ships going here and there across the waves. Once when the sky was clear, I thought I could see all the way to Umbar, but he said that wasn't possible. I have very sharp eyes, just like my father did. He was a great mariner and fought bravely at the Black Gate of Mordor. I'll be fine, you can go now. Okay. These two are going to wind up fighting. So I think the implication there might be that, again, going back to race, that kid is, has probably got some Numenorian blood. Which is why he thinks he can actually see Umbar when a normal person is like, yeah, you can't see that far. No one can. Meanwhile, someone who's of Numenorian descent, they might actually be able to do that because they're just plain better.
There is always something that needs doing in and around Ostandir.
Alright. Can I ask you to deal with any of the foes? Of course. Kill 10 things. Can do. Hit this. That looks pretty close. Which is probably why it's a trap. There's like one enemy there that respawns every hour. Oh shit, the watch just like jumped this ram. Fuck him up. Hydro might actually count. They are kind of enemies. Yep, they do. fucking Vendroval, why not? We told her to go and fight enemies of the realm, and she just started swatting at birds and shit. I don't know what's wrong with her. Yeah, well, all I can think of is Birdemic, where they're fighting birds off. Really bad gifts of birds, by the way, with like a clothes hanger. I actually gifted that movie. Actually, it was the Rift Tracks version of that movie I gifted to my nephew. Seemed up his alley. Terrible movie. The boy. I went out and killed a bunch of birds. I'm sure that's exactly what they did. That hit from pretty far away. It'd be okay if we just had more attacks on horseback. Now, part of that's because I'm a guardian. Got all this tanking crap that I don't use.
I am grateful for your service on behalf of Ost-Andir and the Lady Noriel.
Yep, I killed a lot of birds.
Do you often befriend liars and encourage them to speak untruths?
Oh boy. He says that King Elisar adventured with my grandsire. Oh no. And that he is a Thorongil for whom I was named. Shit.
He is just making it up.
One look at the king tells me he could not be old enough to have been of fighting age when my grandsire, Hirluin, adventured in Umbar. To think Orgolas believes I would fall for such falsehoods. Tell you, I'm smarter than that.
But it is true. I am not lying.
I heard King Elisar say he was the very same Thorongil that adventured with Hirluin and Farlung in Umbar. Yeah, he also said he didn't want to tell people that. But Thorongil would believe me. He's going to take me to see the Wave Hunter where it sits at the dock, and I do want to see the ship my father left me, so... Yeah, don't do that. Next objective, there is no stopping them. It's just impossible. You should tell someone. Yeah, I'm a tattle. Man, if only I were, like, bigger and stronger than them and could have actually physically stopped them. But, you know. Oh, this is the side corridor. There it is. Wait, damn it, the kitchen? Is that in here? I don't know where the kitchen was. Not here. Really? It would be nice if it told me. Go in there. Oh, it is here. Shit.
What? Orgalas has left the keep with Nauriel's son already?
I like that it's like, yeah, we knew that was going to happen. We didn't think they would immediately do it. I have to cut this shorter than I intended. I'm starting to get really hungry. Might be a good sign. That might mean that I'm starting to finally recover from whatever I just had. Pretty sure it was just a cold. What a piece of shit. That's pretty big. Pretty big boat.
I told him not to do it, but he would not listen to me.
Now he's halfway up the rigging of the Wave Hunter. Wait, what? Oh shit, he is up there. You know, I told him he should not climb it. It's my ship given to me by my father. Thorngil should do what I say, not what I forbid concerning it.
What if he falls?
Oh, then you're in big trouble.
Sense enough to stay on solid ground.
I'm not burdened with the duty of protecting Thorngil. Still, I don't want him to fall. Thank the valor it is, not Orgalas up there. Lady Mara would cook me on a spit and serve me to her guests. Alright. I need a catcher's mitt. Maybe a trampoline. Alright, we gotta beckon him. He's just chilling up there. Why should I? If you're an idiot, get down here. Begrudgingly descend. There we go.
You worry too much. He was not in any danger.
Even if I was, I would not be afraid. I'm no coward. I was aimed for the great hero Thorngil, sword brother of my grandsire, Hirluin. mighty hero of Gondor. He warred with Umbar many years ago. I've heard from the men at arms at Ost Arndir that even today the Umbarum tremble when they speak his name. I'm going to follow in his footsteps as soon as I'm old enough to become a knight of the Green Hills. And that is the truth, unlike whatever lies Orgolas insists on telling. I think King Elisar might be the same man as Thorongil of old, pig slough. I'm tired of this ship anyway. Orgolas' mother sent the Wave Hunter here during the war, and it did not even see any fighting. What a waste that is.
I suppose we should return to Ostandir.
Thorongil and I are about the same age, but I think he's, I don't know, rather childish, isn't he? He says he will soon become a knight of the Green Hills, but I think he's too rash and too unthinking and too, I don't know. Proper knight should not be any of those things. He does not give a thought for any of his people, and speaks only of his own glory. I was telling the truth about King Elisar. Suppose we should return. Yep, pretty much. I'm enjoying this plot. This is a fun story. I don't know how it intends to go, but, you know.
The boys are safe? Thank the Valar.
Yeah, just arrived, driving his horse from beyond exhaustion. Corsairs have attacked in force.
The Lady Norio prepares a response to deal with the Corsair raiders.
Alright, now to our side, there's little time to waste. Cool. Parade!
A number of Corsair ships have sailed in secret up the Hathalant.
Now pillage the farms and villages of Tomb Ross. I will dispatch our soldiers at once. Are you with us, Elisar?
We will fight alongside you to defend the Green Hills, Nariel.
Here we go.
Then let us depart for Tomb Roast with all haste.
Good roast, huh?
The people of Eifel suffer at the hands of the Corsairs. The smell of burning grapes hangs on the air.
Hell yeah. Holy shit. I almost have as much health as Aragorn. Holy shit. That's a first in the game. I'm still a little under, but not by much. Only like 3k. Attack is a personal affront to me, for this land is not just under the protection of Lady Nariel and the Knights of the Green Hills, but it falls also within my purview as the King of Gondor. People of Eifel will not be endangered while I still live to prevent it. Can I mount up? Oh shit, it's gonna let me. Charge the fuck in here. That was sick. That's a good way to soak an alpha. Holy shit. I should probably... Uh-oh. I actually need to remember how to fight. These guys are tough. That hurt. I probably should not have dove in like that. It's a good thing I'm on normal. Shit. If I was on any other difficulty, my ass would be grass right now. It was fun, though. I need to remember what some of these are. Kind of blew my cooldown already. Well, a couple of them. So the Rossarin and deal with the raiders in the north. Can do. The rest of you spread out. Would that I had a company of mounted swan knights with which to sweep the corsairs from this place. You and I will have to do. We must be up to the task. Yeah, we got this. There's only 3 of them. I don't even need your help. Maybe. Damn. Evaded then blocked twice, huh? There may be corsairs lurking in the shadows. I'm sure there are. Search inside the building to the north. You go around to the back. Hiding corsair. They're not very good at this. They're trying their best, though. I am appreciating the dynamic music, though. Like, as you hit different phases, like the music will change and stuff. I don't know when they started doing that, but it's a nice touch. You're fortunate most of the villagers are unharmed, for the Corsairs set the hillside aflame as they climbed up the village. The folk of EFL did not delay. They took shelter among these buildings at the first sign of the Corsair approach. Once we put out the fires, most of the danger should be over. Before you returned, I heard the dwarf Gimli shouting back in the main square. You should ensure he has all in hand. Gimli's shouting, he's fine. Still got air in his lungs, so... You know. Could be more of the Corsairs hid themselves and thought to do some mischief while our backs were turned. Gotta save my buddy Superfly. Oh, Gimli. Same thing. What's up with Windir? Windir, the vintner of EFL, sits in a widening red pool and stares at you with glassy eyes, his clothes red-stained. You ask if he is injured. He shakes his head. This is not blood. It is worse. My finest bottles were smashed beyond repair, and their contents drained. I pray the king still has the bottles we gave them to him. They are irreplaceable now. I really thought they were going to kill him off. I stayed behind. I was right to do so. Some of the Corsair raiders hid themselves around the square and thought to attack Elisar from the rear. But there may be more. We should follow after. See if any other villains had the same idea. I couldn't even say that they're hiding. Whatever. Yep. How fare the folk of EFL? Locked up. Fully understand it. The main Corsair ships must have anchored further down the river, for most of the raiders rode here in secret, piloting small boats. Why then would they set fire to the hillside as they approached EFL, giving away their presence before they reached the village? Maybe they wanted to inspire fear. Perhaps that is the answer. Still, it is good to hear that most of the villagers remain unharmed. We drove the Corsairs back to the river, and most of them fled in their small ships. They may seek to return once they have licked their wounds, but I think it more likely that they will not attack EFL for some time. We should search along the shoreline and ensure that no Corsairs remain here. Stab this bush. A young boy emerges. Sorry. Told Thorngil I was wrong, or it was wrong. We should not follow the warriors. He said if he didn't, my father Galasgil would know his heir to be a coward. Oh, great.
I should not have listened to him. I knew it was wrong. There was no convincing him. Thorongil wanted to get a closer look at the ships. And then...
Orgalos, you were to stay at Ostandir.
I'm sorry, my king, but Thorongil!
Breathe deeply, Orgalos, and then tell us what befell Thorongil.
I told him we should turn around, but he wanted to get closer to the ships. I hid in a bush, but he kept going, and one of the Corsairs seized him.
Well, the Corsairs with a huge lout with muscles I have never seen, lifted Thorngil up by one arm and dangled him over the river. It's one of those halflings I heard about. Thorngil spat curses at him and said he was named Thorngil and would have all the Corsairs put to death if they did not hand him. They laughed at that. And I still hear the laughter. There was something about that name they didn't like. Thorngil, you say? The big fellow asked, drawing his sword. I think he would have killed Thorngil right then and there, but an elf among the Corsairs said something to him, and his face became like a storm cloud. Couldn't really hear it from where I was hiding, but I think the elf was saying the captain would want to keep Thorngil on board her ship. Hold on, there's an elf among the Corsairs? Now that's interesting. Big Lout put his sword away and hauled Thorngil onto their boat and rowed out into the river. And then they were gone. I know it was wrong and we shouldn't have come here. But I didn't know how to get out of it. It was all over, and it was too late. The way they spoke about their captain, it fills me with terror even now.
They called her the Reaper of the Waves.
Nice. This chick sounds awesome. I think we know this captain. Wait, do we? It's been a while. Nakasi has reason to hate Gondor, and she told herself that she planned to wreak vengeance upon my kingdom. Oh, yes, I do remember her. It would not surprise me to learn she planned to raid every village along the river's edge, but the abduction of Thorngil caused her to change its plan. He may prove a useful hostage for the Kindred of the Coins. Now I'm getting ahead of myself. Right now, we must bring this unwelcome news to Thorngil's mother, Nariel. Perhaps we can do something to prevent Nakasi from escaping Outer Gondor with Thorngil in her custody. He's not happy.
This outrage cannot stand!
I will wage such war upon the Corsairs that they will not sail within Gondor for 1,000 years. And I will call to arms every knight that has ever raised sword within Peneth Gelen to follow me and rescue my son.
I think there is reason to believe the Corsairs will not harm Thorongil.
You value in keeping him alive to use as a potential bargain. I can't talk. Potential bargain with Gondor. If we act rashly, we might endanger the boy's life. We must not risk that. I want to send someone to follow the ships. Wonder who. We must track them from shore and see where they sail. It's not certain they will return directly to Umbar. If they put in at a cove along the Langstrand, we might be able to rescue Thorngil before he is brought back to the Kindred of the Coins. And I leveled. Now 144.
Look for some sign of the retreating Corsair ships.
If it can be managed, we need to know what direction they sail as they leave the river. We'll follow after you, but a larger company must move more slowly than one person. Once you determine the direction of the Corsair ships, you will find me at Londkirion. Gotcha. Good shit. Well, that was actually pretty fun. Unfortunately, I think I need to get out of here. I need to get something to eat. And then I need to get ready for work, so... what can I do? Not sure what I'm going to be able to get on next. Not sure what I'm going to be streaming. I don't know. It might be something completely different. Might go back to Temple of Elemental Evil. Might be, Pillars of Eternity. Not really sure. I've got plenty of stuff to be streaming, honestly. Not to mention just some other games I kind of want to get into. I don't know. I'm getting in the mood to replay some favorites. But it looks like I will be calling it here. Good place. It's getting a lot of fun. It's not anything crazy these days. It is definitely a throwback MMO at this point. But I think that's why I like it. There's a nice chill exploration, little instance to fight some easy enemies. I mean, I could have cranked up the difficulty and just played a little safer. It would have been fine, but sometimes you just want to hit some buttons and watch people fall over, you know? Anyway, I'm out of here. Thanks everyone for hanging out. I will see you when I see you. Have a good one.